Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about a slightly negative topic called budgeting. I wouldn't call it but I wouldn't call budgeting very painful, because it means some small short-term pain, but extremely great thing to do for the long term of your life. Let's say you're young, you're 25 years of age or 24 years of age, you've just started, and you don't think you want to be very detailed in your budgeting. That's great, doesn't really matter. So call it two things. One, call it lifestyle and absolute, don't call it life, sorry, call it absolute basic minimum. Then you call it lifestyle expenses, and third category you call saving for future. Okay, put money into these three categories. Not more than 50% should go into your first category of your spending for your absolute necessities, which means your rent perhaps, but I'm not very sure whether rent should be part of this. If you're staying with your parents, you're not paying rent, but if you're staying on your own, there will be some rent. So rent could be part of this, or it could be part of the 30% which we will talk about. So all your other expenses, largely food, travel and all that, should come into the first 50%. And I'm being very liberal, because if you're taking home something like 45,000-50,000 rupees, living on 20,000 rupees, not including rent, is just being liberal. Now rent you could include in that category or into the second category. The second category is 20%, which will include all your EMI, rent, etc. So that makes it 70%. Right, the first 50% for expenses, the next 20% for your car EMI, house EMI or house rent, all that in that 20%. That leaves you a solid 30% to invest. Why am I saying you can invest 30%? Because you're young, you're single income, you have no other expenses, you're working hard, you work 12 hours every day, you really don't have too much time for spending. So don't go and blow money. Don't say, I have worked very hard, I deserve this. No, there's no such thing. It's your money. Why are you doing this, right? So 50-30-20 rule, this holds on till you're 30-32. By the time maybe you're married, and then you sit with your wife and say, look, I live by these rules, I make these ratios, and this is how I am spending. Would you like to be part of it? And she may look at you and say, you're so weird, or she might say, enthusiastically say, let me join in. Now you don't have to pass a value judgment on whether it is right or wrong. If she doesn't agree, she doesn't agree. That's okay, you can live with that. But at least you have told her that this is how you are, and this is nice things to discuss even before marriage, knowing how each person's financial personality is. So now you have this 50-30-20 buckets. You know where your money is going. Put all your entertainment, etc. in the first bucket. Now start breaking up that first bucket also, saying this is food, this is entertainment, this is clothes, this is fun clothes, this is clothes, this is formal clothes. Then you see how much you're spending on what, and whether you need to spend. Maybe you need to really spend good amount of money on clothing, especially if you're in marketing, meeting a lot of people. You don't want to go shabbily dressed, you don't want to wear a bad shoe, you don't want to wear a shoe which is stinking or which is torn, obviously. And you might want to buy things of a particular brand depending on the place where you're going to. If you're a relationship manager working in a mutual fund and you're meeting bankers, you're meeting Citibank, you're meeting MX, you're meeting HDFC Bank, you obviously don't want to be dressed like them, not dressed like very casually. But your fund house also will say that when you're going to meet bankers, you have to dress in a particular way. However, if you wear very expensive clothes, that might be very intimidating when you go to meet your IFAs. They may not be dressed so well, so you may want to scale down a little bit on the brands which are visible. What you are showing off is largely your shirt, pant and shoes. So be careful about the clothes that you choose. You need to be wearing what exactly the other person is wearing, or somewhat similar. Or you create an image that, look, we are a good fund house, that this is how we pay and this is how we are. So if you don't fit in, it's your problem, not mine. So right, so but putting all that, I mean, you may be spending on casual clothes and all those things. Make those categories, see what you're doing, see how much you can you save more than 30%, can you save 40%, right, or invest 40%. It's going to be very, very difficult. But if you're staying with your parents, not paying any rent, not paying for food, you could save 100%. I know boys and girls who save 100% because they're staying at home. So these things are possible. So find out how you're spending, where you're spending. Afterwards, you will yourself feel like, oh God, this is a mistake I'm making. So first step in budgeting is to write down your expenses and see what you're doing. After that, budgeting becomes easy, and that your mind gets alert to saying, oh my God, this is not what I should be doing. 4 o'clock in the evening, I have got hunger pangs. I can choose to have a salad over a samosa, right? So you have to now make those choices, whether it is food or whether it is money. So have a budget. See what you're doing, have a food diary, a money diary to start with. That will make you introspect. After 15-20 days of writing down, you will keep wondering, why did I eat this, why did I not eat this, why did I make this wrong choice. Then it's a good time to be maintaining your writing down your budget about your finances, saying what you are going to do over the next few months, that is whole year, what you're going to do. Because you know what your weaknesses are, etc., you will be far more careful, and you will yourself feel the need for making a budget. You will not make a budget because I am asking you to make a budget. You will make a budget because you realize that money could have been spent more smartly, and money is time. The more money you save, the more money you invest, and more aggressively you invest, and for the longer period that you keep it there, which means the earlier that you start, the greater chances of attaining financial freedom. You may not quit your job at 48, but you will at least be happy to know that your investments allow you to do that. The fact that you can quit is a greater strength than actually quitting and staying at home. Very few of us will ever do that. But the thing to believe that, oh, I don't need this job and this job is optional, is a huge feeling. So think of that in the long run. You will feel like making your budget and living within them. Thank you.